Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David Brokaw.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to REUZEL Live. And my name is David Brokaw. I am a ambassador from Frederick, Maryland, here in the U.S. I'm also known as Cheeseburger Eddie online. So thanks for all you guys that follow me and support me. I really appreciate all the efforts that everybody's put in and helped me get this live feed out. I'm coming to you live from my house today. This is kind of a weird experience for me. Got me out of my sweats, I shaved, I got my hair done, so I feel good, looking good. We're going to be doing a haircut on my oldest son. This is Peyton, and I have my other son, Dakota, as a cameraman. So it's a family affair today. It's like bring your kids to work day. It's up there like bring your young adults to work day, because they're all legal adults now because I'm old. What we're going to be doing on Peyton here today is he's got the classic grown-out look that we're going to be dealing with through this whole pandemic and everybody being closed down. We've haven't been able to cut hair for a while, so I haven't cut hair in 2 weeks. So what I have a feeling is when we come back, we're going to have a lot of grown-out hair. My hair is so grown out right now because I was supposed to get it cut in Mexico last week by Rob, aka Bloody Butcher, but that didn't happen. So I'm in desperate need of a haircut myself. So we're going to see a lot of hair just like Peyton's coming into the shop when we get back in. So what I'm going to teach you today, I know it's advertised as a flat top with fenders, but I think we're going to do something based off of a flat top with fenders. Come on in here a little closer, Dakota. If you can see with Peyton's hair, it's pretty grown out. He was classically shaving his head. He's a skater. He didn't like the hair in his face. He sweated all summer long, so he was shaving his hair, and he's growing his hair back out, and this is what it's turned into from being shaved off. What we're going to do is we're going to start this off, and anybody that's out there, I would like you to give a shout out because I got REUZEL Education online with me. They can give us a shout out where you're from, tell us a little bit about yourself. If you have any questions, we're going to do a question and answer at the end of the segment. This is going to be a very simple haircut today. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. We're going to have fun. We're going to break a few rules. I might get crazy. Bring the camera over here. I might show you my nuts. But we got Angel here with us. It's in my house. This is kind of weird because I'm kind of a personal guy outside of work. So bringing the world into my home is a little it's a little weird for me, so you can bear with me a little bit. So we're here in my kitchen coffee area. We're going to be demonstrating a haircut based off of what the old thing of the KISS emblem about. Keep it simple, scum buddies. I know it used to be something else, but evidently you're not stupid if you're watching this video because you're trying to educate yourself and learn something here. So by keeping everything simple and simplifying it allows us not to overthink what we're going to do. So we're going to break a few rules here today. Normally with REUZEL, when we start our haircuts, we always start off with a baseline. Today I'm going to change it just a little bit to show you how easy it is to really do a flat top with fenders variation. What we're going to do is bring this down, and we're going to start this haircut off with what I call a bottom baseline. All right, so this haircut's going to actually have two baselines to it. We're going to have a bottom baseline, which is basically a bowl cut. All right, so if you look at Peyton's hair, come on in here a little closer. You see we got it combed in its natural fall. It's drying. He's just showered, thank God. But you can see how it's just falling. So what we're going to do is we're going to create just a basic bowl cut first around the perimeter line on the bottom. All right, what this is going to do is it's going to establish a lot of heavy weight right through the middle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come up top, and we're going to do what we call parallel lines. All right, with a flat top and fenders, the idea is having a halo of weight right through the sides, and the weight creates the fenders and the flow. So this will all be personalized at the end. The spot on top, which could be off the apex, raise your head up, Peyton, please. If we work it off the apex, we get more of a traditional thing. If we want to create more of a ramped up effect, we take the length and we use that as a measure where they call. It tells us where to put the flat spot. Flat spot would be further back here. That creates our elevation and our ramp up to it. So depending on the style of flat top that you want, whether you want more of a pompadour flat top, you want more of a standard straight up traditional flat top, depends on where you place the flat spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to work all this weight down to his baseline on the bottom this time, bowl cut bottom, and then we're going to establish our flat area. So we're going to over direct everything to the bottom first. We're going to establish our guide up top, then we're going to over direct everything to the top. And basically, that's the haircut. It's very simple. So you have two over directions here. We go all the way down, then we bring everything all the way back up. And then we go through at the end and we personalize the taper the way we'd like to see the outer edge, like the picture frame. So if you want to do it more of a rockabilly or a more fun, longer trim, mullety, you can leave that length on the bottom. If you want to take more of a taper down and clean it up, you have that option to do at the end. So it's a very, very simple haircut. Flat tops and fenders are my favorite, but it's all about over direction. All right, we're going to start this off. We're just using a little bit of the blue tonic and water. I'm misting down. We're going to create the natural fall of the hair off the head shape. If you hear some snoring, it's the dog. Angel's laying down right below us. Say hi to everybody, Angel. She's always there. So, as you can see, with Peyton, he's not going to have this hair forever. So, the shortest area is right here, and then it goes more into a point. So, we can either work that in an arch and bring that down, or we could just take that point off of right here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start off and comb everything down. And I'm just going to take that point off, like we're giving him the Lloyd, the Dumb and Dumber. All right? Anybody remember back in the day the Dorothy Hamill? So basically, it's like giving Dorothy Hamill a flat top. So we take this down. One in a little closer. We're just bringing it in, just cleaning off everything that comes out of the excess of that line. What I'm doing is keeping all the weight into the haircut for the personalizing at the end. So I'll bring that around. Bring it around again. Just getting rid of that excess that likes to flick out. So basically, we've just created kind of a glorified bowl cut. Now you can see the halo of weight that we've established in this. Now when we take all that weight and we start bringing it back, you can see how we start getting the flow to the sides. The secret to having good fenders is by not overdoing, not overcutting the sides. Sometimes it's not about how much hair you cut off, it's what you leave on that makes the haircut happen. So now we're going to kind of saturate this hair down a little bit. We're going to build up the shape with our water and tonic. Whatever we could do with our water and tonic or just water, we know that the product will do too. Raise your head up, please, Pay. Now you can start seeing the shape. Now we've determined we've already got a guide for this length in the front. So we need to determine where the flat spot's going to be. That's going to create our parallel line. Just like I was talking about. See, we have a parallel line here. So we're going to make a parallel line here. All right, so if we took that and made it flatter, we would do more of a standard traditional baseline to it. And then that would bring it around. So think about parallel lines. We stay parallel, we're going to get the ramp up to right where we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in this here. I'm going to add a little bit of a REUZEL grooming tonic. The grooming tonic is probably my favorite product of the line. It's my go-to for just about everything. Remember, we flipped for the drip. If you happen to tune in on Monday, you saw Demo do a very, very thorough product presentation for you about retailing, the value of it, prescriptions for your clients. It was great. If you didn't see it, I'm sure it'll be rebroadcasted onto the site. You should check it out. Since Demo covered the product so well, and I'm here at home in my house, and I just kind of buried up what I had laying around. So this isn't our complete line, but it's got enough for me to work off of today. I'm going to take the grooming tonic in. I'm going to work it in. And I like the grooming tonic over the grooming spray just because in this case, just like Demo said, it just has a little bit more substantial hold factor to it. When we watered down the grooming tonic before for our bottles, we kind of created that in the spray. So it's just a little bit lighter hold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow this into a shape. I'm going to use my den brush. I'm going to have him tilt his head forward because using gravity to create this weight in the front is all going to help us. If they have their head tilted back, you're kind of working against it. But the easiest way to deal with getting some volume in the front, tilt their head down, use gravity and help you create it. We're just lightly blowing this back. Building up some height in the front. Now, Peyton was trying to grow his hair out, and he's been really nice enough to let me cut it today so I didn't have to treat you guys with another mannequin head. So I'm really appreciating him volunteering his head for us today, and my son Dakota for filming. I'm starting to relax about being in my house a little bit more. Everybody's been cooped up for the last 2 weeks, and it's been a really good time to really self-reflect and think about what really defines you as a person and not just being defined by what you do in your career. As I've sat here for the last 2 weeks, I've had time to think about like my career over the last 34 years and the value of certain people within my industry that really made a difference in my life and my career. I'd like to thank those people, Warlene, Glennis, David, that all helped me mold me and put their time and effort into me. If you're a young barber, stylist, whoever you are, and you're working in a single chair environment, that's great for you. That works for some people. But some people, like myself, really needed motivation and really need to be pushed. And I don't think you're going to find that working in isolation. I think a team environment, a good group of people just stimulates you. One person's taught me how to really cut hair. One person taught me how to make money. All these people really made a difference over time in my life. So these are great things and assets that helped me become who I am today in this business, and I really appreciate that. Getting back to this haircut and quit rambling on about my own experiences, I had plenty of time to think about all these things over the last 2 weeks, and I don't want to just be defined by a guy that gave good haircuts. I want to be known for as a person. I want to be known as an artist. There's a million ways to define ourselves. Hair is just a fragment of it. So think about these things when you have time off. Call up a person that really made an influence. Let them know. These are the little things in life that really make a difference. When we chase dollars all the time, you lose track on the creative side and the art sometimes. And it's not always about the money. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and if I did it just for the money, it would be all the wrong reasons. I love what I do. I love cutting hair. I love working with people. I did 2 years by myself, and it was the longest 2 years of my life working by myself. It really burns you out. So I highly recommend you find your niche, you find your group, you get a family, you establish relationships. Like I've, I've established so many great relationships through this career that have been just improved my life. A lot of people think like a company is based upon all the hair, but there's a lot of work that goes in that people don't really see. We have all the behind the scenes people that really make everything happen. Like we have Martha, we have Carrie, we have Curtis, we have RJ, we have Franz, we have Lawrence. You have all these people that really, there's a family and a team here at REUZEL. We have Bridget, we have Rob, we have Lean. And we're really lucky and fortunate to have such a good group of creative, strong people to herd us into a direction, because it's not easy. I mean, when you deal with a lot of creative people like myself, Demo, you're going to have Nicholas Fury coming up. You're going to have Paul Dunning coming up after me. You have Paul right before me. All these people, we're all strong personalities, and we're not always the easiest to deal with. So I really appreciate that everybody has put their time and effort into me, and then hopefully I can give something back. All right, now that we've kind of got his hair blown up, you can see how that weight is really held in. So the bowl cut has turned into more of a fender thing. So now we're going to come in here, and I'm going to be surprising people today because I'm going to be doing a lot of scissor work with this one. It's a pretty easy haircut. I'm going to come in and I'm going to establish what I call the spot, or the flat spot, here in the back. I'm going to use a finger lift, all right? So I'm going to come in here. I'm using a finger width. That's going to create, I think, right off the crown. Then I'm going to come on off the section of that. I'm going to bring that back. Then I'm going to keep over directing back to that spot. I'm going to bring the next section and bring it back. I'm bringing back everything. Bring it back everything and over directing it to my spot. From the bottom up to my spot. You could do this with clippers. You can do it with shears. I think that everybody's been doing so much clipper work lately. It's kind of nice to throw some shear work into. We're going to over direct everything back on this side, bring it up to our spot. Like I said, we're kind of breaking a lot of the rules. And really with hair, you know, you got rules, and then you learn all your rules and your structure, and then you start breaking them. When you work behind a chair for a living, a lot of times it's all based upon speed. So sometimes you find faster, more efficient ways of doing things that are more time influenced. So we're just going to bring everything up to our spot and keep checking. And this is just kind of roughing it in. Hair's still a little bit damp at this point because I knew I was going to do some scissor work. But you could see, where's your head up? You can see how it's created the ramp up. So here's our parallel lines, okay? Now I'm going to finish drying him, then I'm going to go in and tidy things up with the clipper. When we're using this with REUZEL, it's always nice to think about the effects of what you want the hair to do and what product's going to work best for it. Thing really does have nice hair. He's just thinning a little bit in the temples. I like to say that a lot to him, but I'm not. And we're going to build that in, and with that product, it's not really going to make the haircut, but it's just going to help finish it off. So with these traditional styles, they're going to be more of a grease variated look. So I'm going to go back in here. Then again, working everything up to that spot, all over direction. Keeping all that weight in the bottom still. I kind of like the way it's kind of flicking on the bottom. It gives it a really old school, kind of hot rod, rockabilly vibe to it. Bringing that up. Bringing it up. Keeping that everything over directed back. So basically we've done two guides. We've got this one. We still bring everything down. We have the finished one. So let's keep bringing everything up, checking, tidying it up. Any questions that Curtis can answer for anybody coming through? I know this is a really quick haircut. It always is. I'm trying to do it slower, but normally I can knock this haircut out in probably about 15 minutes if I didn't chew the fat along the way. But you can start to see how basically we've worked everything off and we've got everything still down to our perimeter line. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to work in a little bit more grooming tonic. The thing when you're doing flat top variations is getting the hair really shaped and dried into that line so you can really start seeing the line develop. We're just blowing everything up to our guided spot. Using gravity again for the front. Okay, now that we've kind of worked this in, we're going to start working on our perimeter. So we're going to bring this line down some. We're going to start establishing some of this weight off here. Raise your head up, please. I'm trying to keep a lot of that weight still in. Then I'm going to work up and then bring that into our guideline. And finally put our baseline in third here. So it's a little bit of different approach than what we've done in the past, but you can really start seeing it develop. You see how this, you start finding the little details of the wave here. So we're just going to start going around this bottom. Just going to clean that up just a bit. Do a little bit of freehand work. Okay, you can start to see it develop a little bit more. It's coming into play. We're going to come over to this side. We're going to start doing the same thing. We're going to take out some of that bottom weight. Kind of working around the arch of the ear, like I did on the other stuff. You know, like anybody that's ever seen Rob or AKA the Bloody Butcher, he's always talking about, he has this little spills he goes through, and I should know better than anybody about the spills because he's cut my hair quite a bit. You've probably seen me in some of the videos, some of the hair shows. Rob has cut my hair quite a bit over the last few years. He always does this little spit about tools and what you have and whether they make you who you are. It's really nice to have nice cutting tools. I really like the idea of the notching blade systems. I find the accuracy of it. He does this term where he says, like, just because you bought a guitar doesn't make you a rock star. As you can see in the corner, I bought the guitar, all right? It doesn't make me a rock star. He's right. I'm not a rock star, but I tell you what, trying to learn how to be a rock star is so much more fun when I have the right tools to do it with. So I'm a firm believer in having nice stuff. You should invest in yourself and your career, your product. REUZEL is a great line. There's a product for everybody in this line, whether you're a matte finish, whether you're a shine finish, whether you like texture, whether you're not volume, whether you want to do slick backs. It's just something for everything. You have fine hair, you have thick hair. There's really a product for everybody here. Then again, we're going to sculpt out, just staying with the shape of the ear. Trying to keep that weight. Peyton's got a crazy little hairline here. He always has ever since he was a kid. Both my boys have, growing up, really were anti-haircuts, so they rocked long hair pretty much their whole lives. Dakota's still got really long hair. He used to have a big dread that popped in the back of his head all the time as a kid. We'd suck it out with a vacuum cleaner. But I've never been an enforcer of the hair. I think people should be who they want. Hairstyles are a reflection of your personality. So I'm trying not to take away Peyton's personality and put mine into it too much. He's a wonderful skater. You can check out his video called Sportsmanship on YouTube that him and his friends just launched. Got some really good stuff in the New York skate scene in it. Check that out. But getting back, we're tapering down his neckline. I'm just coming naturally in with the clipper, just freehanding. Going against the grain where it needs to. Keeping that weight in there. Now we're going to come up here and we're going to start squaring off the top a little bit more, really cleaning up that line, balancing out our parallel line. Freehanding through the middle. I like to do a lot of freehand work. So how's everybody been holding up through this whole pandemic? I mean, everybody has been shut down here in Maryland. We've been closed for 2 weeks. We've probably got another month to go. I feel like I'm semi-retired. It's given me a kind of a rude awakening about retirement. I always thought that I couldn't wait to retire, but to be honest with you, I'm really not done yet. I'm not ready to retire. I love what I do. This is just feels so good to cut hair. It's been like feels like forever. I really didn't think I would miss it until I just started cutting it again today, to be honest with you. I know times are tough for everybody, but I think we're going to really pull through this with flying colors. What it's going to do is it's going to show your clients what your true value is. People are now at home. I get messages and calls every single day. Can you cut my hair? Can you cut my hair? Will you come to my house? Will you do this? And we're not doing that. But what it's done, it's really produced our value and shown people that what our worth really is to them. And people really like to look good and feel good. They like getting their hair cut. So these are things to think about. So when you get back in your shop and you're getting overwhelmed with trying to catch up and fit everybody in and get everybody taken care of because it's going to be a bum rush, these are things to think about your business. If you need to raise your product value up, bring it up. You need to raise your prices for your services, up them. These are the times to do it. You know, it doesn't seem like it'd be natural, but people are going to be in demand of your service, and you're going to be busier than you're ever going to be, working longer hours than you've ever worked in a while. So if you're over 85 to 100% booked, there's no reason you shouldn't be going in to make up the difference from this break by bringing up your prices a little bit. I'd like to give a shout out to my coworker Cody. Really kind of miss working with him every day. He inspires me on a daily basis of watching his eagerness to learn and develop his trait. It reflects back on me and my time period, and I think about Werlene and Glennis and the effort they put into me. They used to actually send a girl. I lived across the street from the shop. They used to send a girl to wake me up every day to make sure I was at work. We didn't have a cell phone, so at 11 o'clock, I'd get my doorbell would ring, and Dee would be at my door to make sure I was going to be at work by noon. So funny. They went beyond and further than anybody ever did with tolerating me and putting up with me. I have no reason or understanding why, but they saw something in me at the time, and I'm really glad that they did. I see that in Cody. I see it in a lot of the younger barbers and hairstylists out there, and it just inspires me to keep doing this after 34 years. What I'm doing now is I'm coming through Peyton's hair. I'm just softening all the edge work up with my blenders. Now these shears get a bad rap because You know, people will call them thinners or whatever, but they're not. This shear does three things. Does anybody know the three things that this shear physically does? Anyone? Anyone? Anybody spot it out? This hair either collapses the hair, these scissors either support the hair, or they soften the hair. There's three things. So when you're using them, you need to look at the section. Do I need to collapse that section? Do I need to take that a little deeper and collapse the weight into it? Do I need to give some standing support? So let's cut a few little supports up here. That's going to help this link stand up. And then do I want to soften those edges? And we're just going to go in and soften the lines. But you're really starting to see the shape softly unfold. Does anybody have any questions up there? So far away, real quick. See what REUZEL Ed has to answer you. Coming up after me, we're not going to do a live feed next Friday because it's Good Friday. Then we're going to have all the way from Poland. We're going to have Delma from Poland. He's going to be doing probably a more traditional flat top, from what I understand. And then after that, you got Nicholas Fury coming up. And then we have Paul Dunning coming up after me. It's been a pleasure to have this experience during this time. Even though things are down, I feel like morale has been really good and up for people. This has been a time that really shows people what the value of life is, and spending time with their families and their close friends, doing things like taking a walk and not taking it for granted, getting out, watching the sunset, seeing the full moon last night, all these little things that we lose track and focus on in our daily lives, worrying about work and everything, have been kind of put aside for a couple of weeks. And I felt like it's really brought a balance back to my soul. Financially, it hasn't been the greatest, I understand that, but I think it's the universe's way of telling people to relax a little bit, quit worrying so much, calm down, enjoy your friends, tell someone you love them. These are great things. So hopefully we're all going to come through this. We're going to be stronger. We're going to realize that nothing's really going to stop us. Hair's always going to grow. We're going to have jobs. It's just going to come back. So I'm glad you guys are tuned in. I'm really liking the way the shape's turning out.
Cheeseburger, we have a question.
All right, fire away.
Have you tried the new fiber cream? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I have the new fiber cream right here. I personally tried it on my hair because I can put pretty much any product in my hair and it looks great. Thank God. I liked it. I think that it's a really going to be a really good thing for more mid-range to finer hair types. I like all our new products. We have the grooming cream. I really love this on thick wavy hair. And then we have the matte styling paste right here. This is another new one. With the styling paste, it kind of falls in that line of my favorite product of the line, which is the fiber pomade. I find that as a fiber pomade, if I had one product that I could only take with me besides grooming tonic, it would be the fiber pomade out of the pomade line, because I feel like this pomade can be broken down and used on any texture of hair on anybody. If you use a little bit on fine hair, it works good. You can control thick, coarse hair with it, it works good. It's just an all-around jack of all trades for the pomades. Getting into the pomades here. What a lot of people don't really realize is we have like two water solubles, all right? So when you see these two water solubles and you think, how many holds do you have? We have a light hold sheen, and we have a heavy hold or strong hold with medium sheen to it. So how many holds do we actually have? Do we have one hold, two holds, or do we have 5 holds? We actually have 5 holds because you can mix these half and half, meet them in the middle. You could do 2/3 and 1/3, 2/3 and 1/3. So I cocktail a lot of product in my shop. So what I find is we have, this is the cologne, but I'm just going to use the example, the piglet size of these. So in our shop, we retail these for $18.60. All right. The piglets will do $10.60. Okay. So if I make a formula, let's say I use a pretty popular one, the green and the blue. If I mix these, I will sell you the formula, 2 of these for the same price as 1 of these. And usually what that does is it gets the client buying the formula. Then they use the products individually. They can change it up. They have some variations they can do at home. Then they usually find the one that they like best and they buy their go-to big one, but they always collect the small ones. Each time they come in, we try to cut it with another piglet. So as guys, I'm a collector. Guys like to collect things, cards. Some guys collect comic books, video games, motorcycles, cars, you name it. So as a guy, once people start using the products on you, you start collecting them and you start learning that you can do different things with your hair. You can mold it into different shapes. I could make my hair into a contour. I could pompadour. I could jelly roll it. All those are going to require a different use of the product along the way. So cocktailing the product is a must, and learning how to sell that cocktail is a must. So selling the 2 piglets for the same price as a regular 10 really works well for us. So things to think about. You can try that in your own shop. Getting back to the haircut here, I'm going to go in with a little bit of the pink just at the root area. I'm going to start kind of building this up. And shaping it. Notice how I started in the back of the head right here. And I'm working it in, and then I bring it around to the front because I don't really want to over grease this front up so much. I want to keep it looser. Now that I can kind of start seeing the shape come through, here's your hand. I'm going to come back in and start fine tuning this a little bit more. Any more questions there? Fire away, people. Anyone? All right. Now that we're kind of squaring up the top, I'm just going to come in and I'm going to clean up this front corner just a little bit. I don't want to over clean them because I kind of like them the way they are. Kind of softening down the hairline a little bit. Keeping a really soft touch to it. I don't want to make it hard. I want to stay within the natural flow. And I don't really want to make it so clean either. Aiden usually enjoys wearing a more rougher, grown out type look. I think we're going to find that happening with a lot of guys as they come back. Fades aren't for everyone, even though we do tremendous amount of them in my shop. We also do quite a bit of long-term work as well. All right. So now that
Chief,
we
I have
kind
another question for you.
all right, fire away, Curtis.
What makes your flat top with fenders your favorite haircut?
Well, this one, what we'll call this is a variation off of it. I like the idea that you're not just cutting all the hair away. You're actually leaving a lot of hair and you're just distributing the weight in the hair. That's the secret of flat top with fenders, is not taking the weight out of the hair, just creating the lines into the hair. So that, I just love the look of it. I love the longer sides, and it counters everything about it with the short tops and the longer sides. I like the attitude it gives. I think it grows out amazingly. Uh, it's just a really freaking cool haircut, and I just love this haircut. It has a lot of, it can be made with a lot of attitude. It can be worn traditionally and clean. There's just so much you can do with it. It's just, to me, it's just a beautiful haircut. Uh, I'm a big fan of not really, even though I do a lot of fading, um, I don't really enjoy seeing so much skin all the time. I know that a lot of guys like it for the convenience of it, but uh, over the years, I've gotten quite more attached to the hair that actually stays on the head versus what you take off. So with the flat top and the fenders here, it's just kind of, it's just a badass haircut. I mean, the guys back in the day that wore it were just badasses. This is kind of long hair in the time period because people would rock more of your contours or your Ivy Leagues or just a traditional flat top. And then guys started hot rodding and growing out their sides because they wanted their sides to match the shape of their car fenders. And it just became like part of the culture. And it's just got a lot of history to it. It's just really, really a badass haircut. That's why. Uh, I mean, pretty much it's a pompadour. I mean, a variation of a pompadour, which pompadours have always been the best. Johnny Cash rocks them, Elvis rocks them, all the cool guys had them. Uh, and it all stems basically from the most severe haircut of all, a flat top, you know. So as you can see, the shape is developing quite nicely. I'm going to kind of dust off Peyton's neck and see what we got going on here with it. I'm going to come in with my trimmers a little bit, tighten up the front line just a little bit. Sculpt up that ear behind. In doing this here in my kitchen, you have to understand that with flat tops and looks like these, they're very like geometrical shapes. They're very much missing the best tool of all, which is your mirror. In the shop, you know, I work with a double mirror setup. I have one behind, one forward. So you're kind of just doing this on the fly in your kitchen on a stool. It's kind of fun. Brings me back to the days when I used to cut my friend's hair all in high school, which got me started cutting hair in the first place. We were punk rock. And it's so funny because all the looks you're starting to see with the designs painted in the shaved heads, we did all that stuff way back in the 80s. And it's just fun to see how it circulates around. I mean, I remember painting the DRI emblem inside of somebody's shaved head and leopard printing somebody's head back in the day, mohawks. That's the stuff that really got me started into cutting hair. And then as I developed my skill set better, I started really focusing in on the growth of the hair and what it's going to look like when it grows out. And is it going to be a good haircut? Is it got a blended silhouette to it and the precision of it? So I start falling more and more in love with the classics because that's what they provide for me. They give me that, I call it it's just the handsome man's club, man. You can be a rock star or a badass, or you can make it handsome. It's just, it does what you want it to be. You know, you could put this up and on with a suit. He's going to look great. He could put jeans and a leather jacket on. It's going to look great. It's just a good, handsome man's look. That answer the question?
Yes. Thanks, Cheese. Cheese. We got another question from Noah Herb.
Hey, Noah, what's up?
Yes, you use clippers a little, and now you use trimmers a little. What is your preference?
To be honest, I love my skeleton trimmers the best, but they tanked on me today, so I don't have them. So if they made the skeleton in a full-size clipper, I'd be the happiest guy in the world because, you know, for free-handed full clipper work and being able to trim and do everything with just one solid clipper, that would be awesome for me. It's just to have one. I like simple things. I don't like to complicate my thing and think about having 5 pairs of clippers and all these different settings. I pretty much keep everything factory set. I use a long shear, a shorter shear, a single blender, 4 combs. I kind of keep it simple. So I'm a very big fan of not overthinking. And if when I was taught how to cut hair originally, I started off being based under the Tony and Guy umbrella, and we had to do everything with a 6-inch shear. So we weren't even allowed to use a clipper at first. So you had to learn how to cut everything with just a pair of scissors. And, you know, it took forever. I got to admit, it did take forever. But at the same time, it taught you the value and the skill set of a shear. And then you branch into the clipper world and you realize that it speeds up the process quite a bit. It does the same thing. It's basically the same thing. We have like a clipper. To me, it's like having an automatic car. I mean, you turn the switch on, the 2 blades go back and forth, it cuts the hair falls off the head on the cape, gets all over the floor. So it's 2 blades moving that cut the hair. Scissor does the same thing. It's 2 blades. It's more like a manual shift car. You got to move it yourself. So it does the same thing. You got 2 blades. They move back and forth. They cut the hair falls off the head. It's on the floor. So it's just a preference of whether you want to drive a stick shift or when you have automatic. Some people prefer the control of the stick shift. Some people, or even now, they go into the interim. Like I guess I would be what you would call a paddle shift driver because I like the mixture of both of them now. So you've learned there's a time and place for both, but sometimes it's really nice to set your clippers down and get in some heavy shear work. And other times you just don't even use the scissor at all. It's just all clippers work. When I do a very traditional flat top, I very rarely use nothing but I'll soften it with a blender at the end mostly, but most of it's done strictly with the clipper. So any more questions? I miss you, Noah. Love you, brother. So somebody else fire off at me.
Thanks, Noah. We don't have any more questions right now, Cheese. You can go ahead and continue.
All right. So as you can see, I haven't really taken that down. I've just kind of really softened that in, and we can bring all that in and just have a nice soft flow to the back. So I'm going to come through this front a little bit, keep softening that edge line just a bit, thinking about the same movement as I'm always working everything back to that original guided spot that we put on the top. It's kind of nice having my boys here with me. You know, we've never really, it's funny, I've owned and operated shops for the last, 18 years, would you guys say? We've kind of grown up running around the shops, but, you know, we've never really hang out and spend the time together, like one's filming, one's being my model. This is kind of a cool thing to do. It's a first for me. You know, naturally, they're not going to do what their dad does for a living because I didn't want to do what my dad does for a living. But it has been fun to unite for this day and have a family affair here under lockdown. So you can see what we're doing here is I'm playing with this a little bit. I'm going to let this kind of roll down, fall to the side, but I'm going to come in now and I'm going to use the REUZEL blue, and we're going to spin the tin. I like to use my middle finger. I'll get my first application to it. When you apply the water solubles, here's a big thing. You get this center part of your hand right here. You got to focus on that, because when you're moving it like this, you'll get a thicker layer in the palm of your hand right there. So I like to work that out, because when I go to put that to the side, if I ever gunk the hair, it's right in here, and that's because I got that extra thick spot right in the pit of my hand there. So I'm going to work these sides back using the REUZEL blue. We'll take a little more. And I like to go with the opinion is you can always add more product to what you're doing, but once you've overdone it, it's hard to change that. So we're coming to the top. I'm going to push this all forward, work from the back, and then I'm going to come backwards with it. I'm going to take my wide tooth comb. I'm going to work that in. Working my shape with the head shape. You can see our flow coming through. And then one of my newest favorite things is we have a surf tonic now. And I love the surf tonic. To me, it's a great finisher. So this is a REUZEL surf tonic. What I like to do to it as I come up to the ends is I like to mist everything down, especially with the water soluble. With the surf tonic, and it gives me that little bit of dampness to really tighten things up with. And then it doesn't really take away the hold like a water does, because it just has its own hold with it too, and has that little bit of grit too. You can see how that really just kind of starts pulling everything together more. All right. Gonna raise up there. It's really kind of miss the mirror at this point. We'll make it work. Just freehand out the sides a little bit. Okay. And then we'll finish it off with a little bit of our grooming time. And here we go. Slick that down. Running right on time. The finished product. And this is what we call the meatloaf. It's a little bit of everything. Straight from the kitchen of my house. Hope you guys enjoyed the class. Just remember, coming up, not this Friday, but Monday, all the way from Poland. We have Delma from Poland, and then we're going to be following Nicolas Cage and Paul Dunning. Any more questions, you can fly away. REUZEL Education team will be answering it. This is a little bit of a rockabilly inspired. You can even take it. If you want to really start making it more contoured, you can bring it over to the side without cutting all Peyton's hair off that it was growing up. So.
That's perfect, Cheese. Let's get a close up there, get an all around shot so everybody can see real nice.
All right, let's move in a little bit, Dakota. Thank you guys for tuning in, giving me this opportunity to exercise some skills I haven't used in a couple of weeks. I'm so glad I didn't have to cut a mannequin head today. I'd like to thank my son Peyton for stepping up and letting me whittle on his head a little bit. He hates haircuts. He's kind of the anti-haircut kind of guy. And I'd like to thank my son Dakota for helping me film. But thanks everybody, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you could come away with something from it, and I love all you guys. Thank you very much.
We want to thank you for tuning in today, and we'll see you again Monday, April 13th at 12 Eastern Time for Delma from Poland. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you again on Monday.